My boyfriend says I do things that make him unhappy but won't give me examples to work off of. How can we resolve this? Throw away, as I don't want this attached to my main. Basically the title. My boyfriend of 5 years said he's unhappy and that I'm treating him poorly, so he treats me accordingly, in a very mean, blunt way, and sometimes like I'm stupid or a child. But I also feel unhappy because feel that he's also treating me poorly, so I have become distant and, admittedly, a bit cold. We are at odds, both thinking the other is at fault for the poor treatment. But that is beside the point. The poor treatment should stop, regardless of who it originated with. Here is the problem I need advice on. I have asked him what behavior I do that makes him unhappy so I can address it, but he is unable to provide examples. He says he's not as in tune in his emotions as I am, but claims he has pointed out what makes him unhappy in the moment. I don't remember these instances, but I'm human, so I possibly just forgot them, so I asked him for examples so that we could talk about them and resolve the problem. He said he doesn't remember any examples but that I just do and say things that make him unhappy. I have provided examples of what he does to make me unhappy: name-calling, constant random criticism, not wanting to converse anymore, raising his voice at me, and not following through on plans. We have discussed ways to address these. However, they only get temporarily addressed and then he usually goes back to them until I point them out again, which upsets him as he claims I am treating him poorly as well, making him go back to that behavior out of contempt and displeasure. This is a cycle we have become trapped in. He said that he's treating me poorly because I treated him poorly first. He also said that he wishes I could just act the way I did in the beginning of our relationship. Unfortunately, my mental illness, which he is aware of, became exacerbated enough to be diagnosable due to the pandemic, a traumatic event, and the loss of a family pet, but I am working on it. As much as I wish I could, I can't just become happy and carefree again. I have to work at it, and am willing to work at it in any way I can. I recognize the hardship this causes. I promise I am trying my best. I have made great strides, but he wants more, which makes me feel incredibly guilty about not being able to just magically become better. His mounting mean behavior towards me has made my mental illness worse and makes me not want to sleep next to him anymore, let alone engage in any intimate activities. This upsets him a lot, as he wants to be intimate and sleep at the same time as me, but his daily rudeness and general dismissive and disdainful behavior makes me not want to do these things. Secretly, I have begun to wonder if a breakup is the best course of action for us. We are both miserable, after all. As of recently, I have had to essentially beg him to treat me nicely and with respect. I'm getting very tired of asking for the bare minimum. But, due to his claim that I treat him poorly and that is why he acts the way he does, I wonder if I am the core of the problem. If I am, then this could be salvageable. That being said, I am unsure what to do here without examples of what I do wrong. I can't fix upsetting behavior that I am unaware of. I cannot fix a problem I do not know I am causing. I also do not live outside of my head. I can try to see things from his perspective, but if he cannot provide me with his perspective, then I cannot address it. I am sure things would sound very different if he were the one writing the post, which is what I would like to hear, what he is feeling and what he would like me to fix. What is a way to approach this to hear his side properly? How could we get to the core of the issue? How could we potentially resolve this? What is there that I can do to possibly improve and save the relationship? I am sure you all have better insight than someone in the middle of it all. Comment. Stop trying to please him, and let him go. You are not responsible for his emotions. He is not responsible for yours. You can have boundaries. Of course, you don't want to be intimate with someone you cannot trust. Trust is essential for intimate relationships. Throw the entire man into the dumpster. Up. Name-calling, constant random criticism, not wanting to converse anymore, raising his voice at me, and not following through on plans. Entirely abusive. Stop running, perhaps, and stop supplicating, and understand that perhaps someone who is unhappy with you but won't tell you what you're doing wrong is someone who wants to keep you running and supplicating. Next story 2. My ex and I broke up a second time in the course of 2 years knowing each other. Backstory: her and I met almost 2 years ago while we both had gotten out of a relationship. She had just discovered her sexuality and left her ex-husband several months prior, relocated and started a new life. I had just ended a very bad relationship in which we were basically roommates for the last 6 months of it. For that reason we both knew we needed to be single and heal, and neither were looking for a relationship, but we had a very strong connection. I didn't believe in soulmates until I met her. It was instant, and you know the saying of when you know you know. It was the first time feeling this way in my entire life. We eventually decided that even though we had just gotten out of other relationships, we didn't want to talk to other people or date around. I wanted her in my life. My life partner, my soulmate. I just happened to meet during that time of my life. I couldn't let her go. We started dating, and shortly she broke up with me because I wasn't nice enough. Now this is the trouble I have comprehending exactly the things I do or say, but I acknowledge there's patterns in my behavior I have to change. That I can be rude and negative. She was basically being realistic and telling me she knew that's not what she wanted long term. She's my dream girl, and she's described that in everything she could ask for, and I show care for her in many other ways, but my attitude, tone of voice, etc. she couldn't get past. About a month later we start hanging out again and decide to give it another chance. She gives me another chance cause I basically cater to her in every way. Because I was trying to be better, do better. I was trying to prove her wrong and show her we'd be together forever, and I'll work on myself. My mindset: when I fear losing her I cave to everything she wants, but because of my own personality and traumas I feel like I have to overlook my needs a little to constantly bite my tongue, and in bad days, I start not biting my tongue again and expressing myself in ways that hurt her. We start arguing every other week, and it becomes a habitual unhealthy relationship. Now mind you that the great times are great, and then we have an argument out of nowhere and it restarts. 4 days ago I made a comment about her not doing the dishes after I cooked. We currently have a PC problem. We're getting treated in the kitchen and I'm terrified of bugs, so I know I've been anal about food being left behind, etc. I didn't realize she was nearby, heard me, and that was the cherry on top for her. She broke up with me the next day, and moved out yesterday. It was very amicable. We remembered the good times, and to me she will always be special. I genuinely still think she's my soulmate. We talked a lot and she wants to take a year off to herself and heal. We both agreed I should take this time to heal too and change those behaviors. It was really hard saying goodbye to each other. We kissed goodbye after talking all night and she drove off. She basically told me that I should see this as a permanent thing, but she really hopes we find each other again, and I actually take this year to chance and she will try to heal from the pain and maybe we could see. She did ask me to not pursue her again though if I didn't actually change. I have a therapist I've been working with and I really want to take the year to feel my best and work on my triggers and behavior. My worry is that she might feel that way now because she loves means part of moving on and healing is literally forgetting and not caring anymore, than being able to forgive. Am I being delusional by thinking there will actually be another chance after she moves on? Next story 3. I've been providing for my depressed GF for over a year now and I'm tired of it. My girlfriend and I have been together for 1.5 years but have known each other and been very close for 5 years. No kids. Around 2 to 3 months in, she decided to quit her job and move in with me. I was cool with it because we were already pretty close and we even lived together temporarily before, as friends while she was in another relationship. Before I jump into anything else, I must mention that she has a history of depression and she's an insecure person in general, though I never got to see the extent of it until we got together. After moving in together, she communicated to me that she needed a break from working a job to work on herself. I had no issues with it at all as long as she went to therapy. She ended up going to 3 therapy sessions before realizing it wasn't for her. She decided to continue that journey on her own. I tried to get her to go to a different therapist, even offering to pay, but she wanted none of it. I expressed my concern and we ended up agreeing to disagree. Honestly, I just wanted her to be happy and really feel confident in herself and become independent. As the months went on, she grew increasingly more dependent on me and eventually isolated herself from all her acquaintances. Even though she grew up in the city we live in, I'm not from here. At the same time, I grew increasingly more uneasy and started repressing my feelings towards her, and this is when it started negatively affecting our relationship. Other aspects of our relationship are good though. We have a strong connection and I love her deeply, but the negatives are catching up to the positives. I'm outgoing and consider myself independent, and even though I don't have a lot of friends, I try to involve myself with external/social activities as much as I can, and I also frequently include her in my plans, for which she declines to engage in 99% of the time. She rarely accepts if it's just the two of us. The only time she goes out with me is to buy groceries. We're both pretty mature in the sense that she's cool with me going out to do stuff, While I'm generally cool with her not tagging along, but it's gotten to a point where I'm just low-key sick of it. Even when I have friends over, she rushes to the bedroom and doesn't come out until my friends have left. In case you're wondering, she doesn't have issues with them, they're good friends. It's very uncomfortable having to tell my friends she's asleep or busy anytime they ask for her. I hate seeing her not do anything to push herself or do something other than sit in all day/night. I understand she's going through a tough time, but at the same time I try to passively get her out of her comfort zone. On multiple occasions, I've tried suggesting that she get a job and try to expose herself to other activities, even if they don't involve me, I don't mind at all. I have a great job that fortunately pays very well, so I'm able to provide for her, myself, and her 2 cats, who I'm allergic to lol. At one point she was constantly stressed out due to debt and I ended up paying it off for her with my savings. I say all of this to try to put into perspective the fact that I don't care about the money, never asked her for it in return, but as adults, we have responsibilities and one of them is to have a job to pay for your shit, or to chip in. I don't want her to get a job to pay me necessarily, I would like her become responsible and follow her dreams. I'm not trying to paint myself as a perfect partner or anything even close to that. Even before her, I've had trouble opening up, feelings-wise, and I've worked on it, but due to the situation, I've somewhat lost interest in trying to engage with her fully, and that has taken a toll on our relationship. This has led to my inability to fully express my love to her through actions and communication, and she has started to resent me for it. I understand that and it makes me sad, but I just don't know how to deal with it. My lease is up in 3 months and I've been thinking about moving to a big city with her, although that thought has been seriously fading as the months go by. Is there a way to communicate that I want to move out with her, but only if she gets her stuff sorted out without it sounding like I want to break up or that she's not enough?